Alright guys, so for those of you who have followed me long enough to know that I've been trying to get this thing running 100% again so I could sell it or use it, one of the two, you'd know that I've been chasing this fuel issue where it was originally something that I thought that the screen inside the tank was all plugged up with debris, and it turns out that wasn't the case because I pulled this entire thing apart, emptied out the fuel tank, cleaned it out really well. I also did my best to clean out the fuel line, which was clean as best I could tell. So it doesn't appear that there was any problem with anything gumming up the fuel line or the gas tank, because it's still having the same issue. It does not want to pull any fuel out of the tank, and it will if I pressurize it with an air line. If I just stick the nozzle into this hose after I pull the fuel filter out, then it'll, essentially be a pressurized line and it'll pump fuel into the motor. That's not the case because it doesn't appear that it's even drawing fuel out of the tank at all. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, to the tune of $25, I bought a brand new fuel pump for it. This is the particular motor that it's got in it. And then here is the fuel pump that I ordered and the part number itself. So if you guys are wanting to do this same deal, you can go ahead and figure it out for yourselves on where to buy it from. I bought this one off eBay, and I'll just say that they're very pricey if you buy them at your local store. There's a lot of people out there that say to support and buy local, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to spend $90 on one of these things. I'd much rather spend $25 with free shipping and wait a few days for it to get here. So overall, it looks like it's a pretty simple process to remove and replace it. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the upper fuel hose, or the upper fuel line here, as well as the fuel feed line down here as well. I'll just go ahead and undo this little clip here and pull that back and then just pull the line off. So it doesn't look like it's going to be all that difficult to do. But as usual, anytime you are going to replace a part like this, it's always a good idea to make sure that you have the right part from the get-go. Look at this part. This looks like an updated one. Should be fine. But it's a mechanical fuel pump. That's all it is. Really nothing special, but it does look the same, save for the new attachment fittings. But we'll figure that out as we go, because there is some new attachment fittings in here as well. See, there's an elbow right here, and there's a straight one right there. So here's a better look at all the parts that it came with. Then I just went ahead and removed that fuel line that goes to the bottom of the fuel pump, and now I'm just going to work on this one. So it might be a little difficult, and I might have to go ahead and just replace this line, but let's go ahead and bring our clips up. It might be one of those things that I'm just going to have to pull it off once I get these two parts out. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove these two bolts. So with a little bit of weaseling, save our clips here. And I was able to just kind of slide it out of the hole right there on the side of the motor. And now I'm just kind of rotating it back and forth so I can just get that off as I drop the clips. So as you guys can see, I already got this one installed down below. As per the instructions, they want you to coat the O-ring in oil so it'll make a proper seal. Then I just blow out some of the oil that gets sucked in, even though it'll just burn up in the engine anyways. I'll show you guys just how I did this. Now, this is not exactly easy to do with their supplied tool, which is the snap ring. What they want you to do is to, with the snap ring, press in on these two tabs here so their locking mechanism will work. You kind of want to do it a certain way so that it locks and seals properly, and you definitely don't want to force it in because that's not really going to work properly. So what you do is I went ahead and just kind of set it in there in place like that, and then with a Phillips head screwdriver, being extra careful, I just kind of pressed it in. You'll have to find the best way to do it as far as, finding your best position goes. but I just kind of pressed it in a little bit. Just put a little bit of pressure on the outside, and I went and did the other side, and I went and did the other side, same way. And you gotta kind of finagle with it and mess with it a little bit. But I just went from side to side and put it in like that. And this one doesn't matter where, you know, you lined up, just so long as you get it installed and snapped down, like so. So now we're ready to install the pump, but first, before we install it, go ahead and set it there in the mag bowl. We have an old gasket we need to remove. Simple enough, use my trusty Craftsman gasket scraper. I will clean out the inside of that hole though. So with the mating surface sufficiently cleaned off of the old gasket, which is now all over the ground by the way, we can now get started on this part. So I've got the new fuel pump here. This goes on like that. There's only one way this thing can go on. But I'm going to go ahead and slide on my new piece of fuel line that I cut out. And those just go on very easily. And then the other one I went ahead and slid up there. So now all I have to do is get our new gasket. So there's the new gasket. I'm just going to go ahead and slide this part of the fuel line up onto the outlet that goes into the motor. Try and get it up far enough so I can sufficiently get this piece in here. Kind of got to contort it just a little bit, but it's not going to damage anything. Unfortunately, one thing you may have to do on your application is remove your dipstick tube. And clean that off before I put it back on, no biggie. Because as you guys can see, because these two screws were threaded in a little bit too far from the factory, can't finish up tightening these bolts down, which I did end up having to use the new ones as opposed to the old ones because of this reason. The new ones were just too big for the whole side here. You guys see the difference, you can see what I mean. The flange on the old bolts would have interfered with the side of the new pump. So I didn't bother with doing that. But in order to rectify this, it's kind of simple. Just get yourself a trusty screwdriver, maybe even the one you used earlier, and just put the screwdriver on the other side, like you can see there, and just rotate it out a little bit. And then once you have the top tightened up and torqued down to the proper torque spec, then you can go ahead and thread the screw back in. Or torque it down too far, but I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Just bring it out a little bit because it is also in the way. There you have it. So they're both cinched down. Let's go ahead and grab the torque wrench out and torque them up. So I've got the torque wrench set to 45 inch-pounds. You can hear it click. And it's clicking again. So 45 inch-pounds, and there you have it. Go ahead and move our other clamp down as well. Now with that being done, I'll go ahead and clean this off, some of the dirt that's on it. Reinstall the dipstick tube. Before I do that, I'll go ahead and tighten these screws back down. So I'm just about ready to see if it'll give us a start. Just need to go ahead and tighten that part back down. So with the bottom all cleaned up and the O-ring lubed with some oil, go ahead and cinch that back down. It's tight enough. So aside from having a flat tire, which I'll have to air that up here in a little bit, I think we can go ahead and see if it'll give us a start. I'm not sure if the battery has a sufficient charge on it, but we'll know soon enough. It did have a charge the last time I tried to start it. Clutch in, attachment clutch is disengaged, and in neutral. Oh, that's something. That's promising. I wasn't doing that before. I am definitely happy with that. It was not pulling any fuel out of this hose the last time. So now it's actually pulling fuel out. I'm going to go ahead and air the tire up, and then we'll give the blades a good test, because I haven't really tried them since I put the new belt on the deck. So now that is, I'm very happy with this. Went ahead and moved that hose clamp back down here to lock the filter in place. So now let's go ahead and give her a test mow. One of the last projects I've got to do on this thing is get the headlights working. I don't know if it's the chewed up wires or, you know, burned out bulbs, but that'll be one of the next projects I get on with this. Let's go ahead and give her a start again. Clutch down, halfway throttle. I can live with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and see if I can move the grape trailer with it. That'll be a separate video. Should have a bolt that goes through both of them. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. Pretty simple fix for this mower, and I'm glad I got it to work now. So on to more projects. You guys all stay classy.